Today, in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topics. And today our topic is lockdown lessons of young mothers. Before I will go to the topic, I would like to inform you that today is the day when 2008, 26/11, we can't forget that day. The 2008 Mumbai attacks, also referred to as 26/11, were a series of terrorist attacks that took place in November 2008 when 10 members of Lashkar-e-Toiba, an extremist Islamist organization based in Pakistan, carried out 12 coordinated shooting and bombing attacks lasting 4 days across Mumbai. The attacks, which drew widespread global condemnation, began on Wednesday, 26th November and lasted until Saturday, 29th November 2008. At least 174 people died, including 9 attackers, and more than 300 were wounded. 8 of the attacks occurred in South Mumbai at Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus, Mumbai Chabad House, the Oberoi Trident, the Taj Palace and Towers, Leopold Cafe, Kama Hospital, the Nariman House, the Metro Cinema, and in a lane behind the Times of India building and St. Xavier's College. There was also an explosion at Majgaon in Mumbai's port area and in a taxi at Ville Parle. By the early morning of 28th November, all sites except for the Taj Hotel had been secured by the Mumbai Police and Security Forces. On 29th November, India's National Security Guards NSG conducted Operation Black Tornado to flush out the remaining attackers. It culminated in the death of the last remaining attackers at the Taj Hotel and ended the attacks. We extend our condemnation for such type of cowardly attacks and hope that no terrorist organization will ever dare to do attack on our country. Today, we are also observing or celebrating Constitution Day of India. Constitution Day, National Law Day, also known as Samvidhan Divas, is celebrated in India on 26 November every year to commemorate the adoption of the Constitution of India. On 26 November 1949, the Constituent Assembly of the India adopted the Constitution of India and it came into effect on 26 January 1950. The Government of India declared 26 November as Constitution Day on 19th November 2015 by a Gazette notification. The Prime Minister of India, Honorable Mr. Narendra Modi, made the declaration on 11th October 2015 while laying the foundation stone of the B.R. Ambedkar's Statue of Equality Memorial in Mumbai. The year of 2015 was the 125th birth anniversary of Dr. Ambedkar, who had chaired the drafting committee of the Constituent Assembly and played a pivotal role in the drafting of the Constitution. Previously, this day was celebrated as Law Day. 26 November was chosen to spread the importance of the Constitution and to spread thoughts and ideas of Dr. Ambedkar. There was also a special session of Indian Parliament on 26 November 2015 to give tribute to the Constitution and Dr. Ambedkar. The Parliament House complex was also illuminated on this occasion. We wish you all a very happy Law Day on this day. Now, the third occasion today is the Devothan Ekashi. Prabodhini Ekashi, also known as Devothan Ekashi or Devthan, is the 11th lunar day Ekashi in the bright fortnight Shukla Paksh of the Hindu month of Kartik. It marks the end of the 4-month period of Chaturmas when God Vishnu is believed to sleep. It is believed that Lord Vishnu sleeps on Shayani Ekashi and wakes on Prabodhini Ekashi, thus giving the day the name Prabodhini Ekashi or Devothan Ekashi. The end of Chaturmas, when marriages are prohibited, signifies the beginning of the Hindu wedding session. It's also known as Kartiki Ekashi, Kartik Shukla Ekashi, and Kartiki. Prabodhini Ekashi is followed by Kartik Purnima, which day is celebrated as Dev Diwali or Diwali of gods. On this auspicious occasion, we wish you all very happy Deothan Ekashi. Now coming to our today's topic, that is lockdown lessons of young mother. Being a mother is learning about strengths you didn't know you had and dealing with fears you didn't know existed. Life does not come with a manual, it comes with a mother. A lockdown is a requirement for people to stay where they are, usually due to specific risks to themselves or to others if they can move freely. The term stay at home or shelter in place is often used for lockdowns that affect an area rather than specific locations. Widespread lockdowns were issued in the COVID-19 pandemic. The term is used for a prison protocol that usually prevents people, information, or objects from leaving an area. The protocol can usually only be initiated by someone in a position of authority. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the term lockdown was used for actions related to mass quarantines or stay-at-home orders. By early April 2020, 3.9 billion people worldwide were under some form of lockdown, more than half the world's population. By late April, around 300 million people were under lockdown in nations of Europe, while around 200 million people were under lockdown in Latin America. Nearly 300 million people, or about 90% of the population, were under some form of lockdown in the United States, and 1.3 billion people have been under lockdown in India. The COVID-19 lockdown changed the way we look at our world an unexpected global event that compelled us to pause our lives and stay in our homes. And to discuss about the lockdown lessons of young mothers, we have a very, I will not say experienced, but young mothers with us, along with a definitely experienced psychiatrist doctor with us. So I would like to invite my first panelist, first guest, and he's none other than Dr. Rajiv Anand. Dr. Rajiv Anand is the senior psychiatrist and marriage counselor. Dr. Rajiv Anand passed his MBBS in 1976 and did MD in psychiatry in 1980 from King's George Medical College, Lucknow. He opted to serve his country when it was very common to settle abroad for brighter future. He has been serving society with his base in Mumbai. He has clients all over India as well as in many other countries. He was honored with Lifetime Achievement Award by AMA. He has conducted more than 3,000 workshops for different groups and companies with audience size of 10 to 800. His television program on various channels have been widely appreciated for his forthright and practical approach. He is leading in the field of mental and emotional well-being for 40 years. He was president of IMA for 2 times. He was interviewed in several talk shows in domestically and internationally. Welcome, Dr. Rajiv Anand, to our show. Dr. Rajiv Anand, as you know, even yesterday the unlock, I think 6 guidelines have come out. In that now the government has given the power to the state governments, the central government has given power to the state governments to impose night curfews whenever is required, and even lockdown if required. But right now, few of the states like Punjab or Gujarat, even Madhya Pradesh, few of the districts have been under night curfews, not under the complete lockdown. But yes, few of the mohallas or colonies of Delhi is facing lots of problem. So when this is the situation, today our program is the lockdown lessons for young mothers. So we would like to know from you on this topic, as well as you can also throw light if tomorrow, God forbids, again the lockdown will come, how to cope up lockdown, because already more than 8 months have passed. Dr. Rajiv Anand, please. Please unmute, Dr. Anand.
I hope I'm audible now. Good morning. Good morning.
Yes,
Thank,
please.
thank you, Mr. Lal, for introducing me. And welcome, Priyanka, welcome, Kanisha, and welcome, Simran. All the three beautiful young ladies, young mother. And in the beginning, let me say, I'm not a young mother, but I understand mothers well. And my foundation, wherever I am, because I understood my mother, and mother's blessings are with me. I strongly believe that. And that's how I was very uh, keen to suggest this topic to Mr. Lal, and he kindly accepted this. The lockdown has been one of the greatest event of our lifetime. Never happened before, and many of us wouldn't like it to happen it again. And if something happens, and I'm emphasizing with this word happens, then it happens by the desire, by the wish or the will of some great powers that make it happen. And if lockdown has happened and has been happening for last over 8 months or more or less, little less, a little more in this state or in that state, then this event has been one of the greatest wake up and shake up experience for most of us. Most of us have suffered. There would be hardly anyone who has not suffered. Yet, most of us have suffered and cried and sulked and craved and cursed everyone around. But few of us have also suffered and have learned lessons. We have learned vital lessons. And Mr. Lal mentioned about that tomorrow, if it ever happens again, we have been talking about vaccine from this pharma company, from this country, from this domestic sector. But last 8.5 months is a kind of a vaccine for each one of us. We are getting immunized. We are developing our own inherent, own inside immunity to face the crisis, bigger challenges in the months and years to come. And that's where the program being conducted by Mr. Lal, untiringly, ceaselessly, with so much effort and pain every morning. He wakes up in time and he's in his suit and his tie and he's on the table at 10 o'clock. And he had been going on. And I am sure you deserve to be awarded by Padma Shri or so, uh, by whichever authority, Karnataka government or central government, because the efforts required to wake up people, to make them realize what they are otherwise missing. And the relevance of this topic of motherhood. Why motherhood? Because these days there is a trend, if anybody talks about women, he is considered to be hitting on them. If anybody is taking interest in women, he is considered to be a womanizer. If anybody is seen appreciating women, he is seen to be having some devilish intention. Now this trend has been for last 2 3 decades. Ours is the only society, probably, in the whole world, who has revered, who has worshipped, who have adored women. Not because they had womanish body, not because they had curves, but because they were mothers. And if anyone has any objection about my statement, which I very strongly believe because I learned from my mother, if the biggest creator, some people refuse to believe his name as God or Allah or Jesus Christ or whatever, but we believe in creator, we believe in creation, we believe in nature, we believe in trees, we believe in everything happening around us. If the biggest creator, after his role of being a biggest creator, gave some power to someone to be creator, that was a woman. So woman is essentially creator after the God. And this is why precisely I respect women. I have clients who have been from different walks of life. Many of you wouldn't like to even listen that which walks of life, whatever you can imagine. Admirable, not so admirable. But that's their business. That's their territory. They are women essentially. Whatever they are doing it, they are doing it for some good cause or for their living. Whichever country in the whole planet Earth has treated women with due respect and dignity, that country, that civilization has prospered, has flourished, has survived over the ages. And whichever country or culture has not respected women have perished, have struggled to survive. Needless for me to say any more sentence to anyone. Everybody is intelligent enough to read paper and watch program what is happening all over. Despite all invasion, despite all possible destruction, our country and our culture has survived, and so it will because of women power. Because women are essentially mothers. So when Corona came, when lockdown came, it came as a very big blow, especially to young mothers. And their pain or their inner agony could not be understood by most of us. I have a daughter-in-law who had a baby girl, 18 months old. I have a daughter who has a baby boy, also more or less of the same age. And I've seen them struggling with the time. And it's not just my personal experience. I have been also having plenty of clients who keep on sharing. Because what really happened that have becoming a mother is the most desired, most craved, most coveted, most longed experience by every woman. In general, our mind, which always divide people in different categories, different castes, different communities, our mind which also divide a man or a woman into parts that he has in this part, he is having this part, woman is having this part, this part. Our mind refused to accept the women are made for becoming mother. Their entire being, their entire anatomy, every part, every bit of their thinking, thought process, or their emotions are essentially geared, designed to become mother. Whatever happens, ups and downs, are a battle against their becoming mother. They look for a guy who would be a strong father of their baby. They get married to get pregnant. They get married to become mother. This philosophy, many people wouldn't like to accept, but mother is their destination. And when they bear a child, and when they bring a child, creation by the God. When they bring a child, then the lockdown comes. And this lockdown has thrown so many challenges which hardly any mother was prepared for. Because as such, the responsibilities of bringing up a young child, whether it's 1 month old, whether it's 2 year old, is much greater responsibility than many of us would like to even know or admit. Let me dare say that most men, most husbands are grossly, poorly skilled in taking the responsibility of being a father or being a parent. Except the new generation, few parents who are having a very balanced attitude. In time of my father, it used to be said, I have heard from my mother that father would not be comfortable holding a child in his own arms because the elders would say, क्या तुम अपने बच्चे को लेकर चल रहे हो? The fathers would keep arm's length from the child, his own child, one or two or three or four. Mother would have entire responsibility, and hats off to those mothers who brought us in this world, five, six children or so, which was an average earlier time. Now just one child, yet commendably, admirably, many of the highly educated husbands are taking this as a responsibility, and they're also doing babysitting. They're also letting the wife work from home and taking care of the baby, which is a new trend, which is very appreciable. Yet most men in general have been poorly skilled unless they learn this skill. So greater responsibility fell on mother's shoulder. And when lockdown happened, then beside the bringing of the child towards whom she was committed, not committed by law or by religion or by society, because her entire being was committed 24 by 7. Her body, her emotions, her thoughts were centered on the baby, his sleep or his lack of sleep, his hungry stomach or his cry, or what is the meaning of this cry. All this was disrupted because the husband was at home, or the in laws were at home, or she was at home all the time. And everybody has his own demands, whether a cup of tea, or whether it's a bhajia, whether it's lunch, whether it's dinner, whether it's the phone calls, whether working from home husbands frequent talking loudly, so on and so forth. So there was division, there were disturbance in her attention or her affection or her love or her support to the child. A child, be it 3 months old child or be it 3 year old child, child can't understand what is lockdown, what is happening around. why my mother is not available to me in a sustained way. The child is likely to turn into insecurity. He is likely to experience insecurity. He is likely to experience those gaps in the sustained attention or affection, which a mother intuitively understands, but she can't help it. Which a mother intuitively understands, I'm not able to give sustained attention or affection or love or support to my child who need me at this time of growing phase. But she can't express it. The moment she expresses, there's going to be fireworks at the home, because the husband are not going to listen, because husband, being in the Indian traditional patriarchal society, we are the man and he think I am the lord of the house and I can't be questioned, I can't be challenged for anything which I do not. I'm working, I'm earning. So woman has to suffer more, and the young woman has to suffer more. Young children of this time have been deprived of that kind of sustained love and affection as they deserve, as they desire, as they needed. And somewhere mothers have felt it and felt the guilt of it. And that need to be looked into. From where mother would have given sustained attention, affection, appreciation, admiration, support, love, from where mother would have given it, when they would have had in plenty. And even of us can give to someone what we have in plenty. Now, lockdown period reduced that supply from the key people in the life, be it my husband or be it my mother, or be it my brother, sister, because we were socially deprived from all key people. Even when the husband was at home, except the physical presence, the physical visible presence, the supply of emotions, supply of support was more theoretical than practical because of so many things happening at one time. So many mothers begin becoming irritable, or begin becoming cranky, or begin getting angry, or loud voice, or spoke in tone which they had never toned, or came out with behavior which many people would say ugly behavior, or many husbands would say तुम तो ऐसे नहीं थे, तुम अभी ऐसे कैसे बात कर रहे हो. And that was an additional guilt to most young mothers. Childhood was a big challenge by itself. I mean, the motherhood of taking care of the young child was itself a big enough challenge, and lockdown make 1 and 1 11. And very few husbands, which I can say even less than 10% of the husbands, realize this. That what's a difficult period a woman has gone through or is going through. Their silent support could have helped a lot, and even now it's never too late. That's why I was very keen that this topic should be taken up, lockdown lessons. So I am stopping here. I know there are practical experience going to be shared by Priyanka and Simran and Kanisha, and let them speak out. I'm very keen to listen to that. Over to you, Mr. Lal.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Anand. And Dr. Anand, although first he wanted to tell me that I must get a Padam Shri or some award, first of all, I would like to inform you, Dr. Anand, I am nothing. There are many Corona warriors who are doing lots of work in this field. I am nowhere in that line. So I consider myself not to deserving, to be very frank, for any of the awards. This is a duty of everyone to do something whatsoever they can do, and I am also doing my duty. What can I can do sitting at my home, not going out. Secondly, Dr. Anand has mentioned very clearly, he says that the woman is next to the God, because the God has created the entire world, and God has created the woman, and woman has created the child. And that's why the position of a woman is next to the God. And he also mentioned that if the country which is not respecting the woman stands nowhere, and always the respect should be given. I just defer something with you, Dr. Anand, here. Yesterday, I did a program because yesterday was the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. And my program title was Crime Against Women. And there are 5 women were there. And you will be surprised to know the worst country, the maximum crime against women is our country. One side, we pray the women for 9 days or 18 days, as a goddess for on Nau Durgas, on Diwali and whatnot. And the other side, we are doing so much harassment, unbelievable. Very, very sorry to say that this is the fault of us. We all men are, anyway, that was the point, because I wanted to inform our viewers that whatsoever is what Dr. Anand is saying is correct, that the woman is next to the God. But please, when we pray to the God, we must also pray to the woman, the mother. They are the real one. Because of them, we are here. Even in this corona time, if India's mortality rate is less, this is because of the women of the home, house, because of their homemade food, because of their immunity booster things which they have given to us. Otherwise, we would have been, our mortality rate might be like Europe or USA, most developed countries, because they don't know what is to be given at this situation, while the woman of the home knows these things. Now, he also said that because of the lockdown, the mothers suffered a lot, and especially the young mother, because the mother attention when the child is small is only for the child. Maximum time goes for the child. But because of the lockdown, husband was at home, others were at home, and she has to divide her time, because there's, although husband was at home physically, but his demands are far more for food, for snacks. Even if he's working from home, he might be speaking loudly, disturbing the child. So the child also suffered and mother also suffered. So according to Dr. Anand, this is a time where the young mothers suffered a lot, although they are strong enough, but still this impact even on the child, which I will be asking Dr. Anand in my next round, is whether the child of this era who has suffered lockdown, who are toddlers or who are 3 years or 4 years age, what will be their future mental position? Will they have this trauma lifelong, or they will forget? That I will ask you in my next round. Now I would like to invite my next. Thank you very much, Dr. Anand, for giving such a strong words for women, which are very much required. Our society should understand that what we are doing is totally wrong. We must respect women like anything. Now I would like to invite my next guest, and she is Dr. Priyanka Suresh Karnade. Dr. Priyanka is MBBS MS Ophthalmology, Fellowship in Phacoemulsification. She is Fellow in Advanced Cataract Surgery. She is an eye surgeon. She is consultant at different eye institutes in Mumbai. She is mother of a 3-year-old. Welcome, Dr. Priyanka, on our show. Dr. Priyanka, you have heard what Dr. Anand has said, and he made very clearly, he said very clearly about the role of a mother, and especially a young mother. Now, we would like to know from you the lockdown lessons of young mother. Dr. Priyanka Suresh Karnade, please.
Good morning to one and all. It is an absolute pleasure to be talking on this platform. I would like to thank all of you all for taking up the time to listen to me. Um, the lockdown, as we look at, has got its all, though we keep listening to all these news and all that, but there is something to be really grateful for in the lockdown, was that all of us, as we were confined in our houses, we got time to spend with our near ones. And of course, the sad part is that we lost so many lives to the pandemic. The current global turmoil or due to the coronavirus pandemic is having a severe effect with everyone being forced to adjust to the changing dynamics of the social and interpersonal relationships. As a mother, I personally feel that a very big, a very essential aspect of that needs to be considered, which is of the coronavirus pandemic, was its impact on our children. What has happened to the children? Out of all the cases, as we know, roughly about only 2% of the children were about only 2% of them were children, and the clinical manifestation in children was comparatively milder than with the adults. Though there has been restriction of the physical activities and their social isolate and the social isolation due to the lockdown has been more of a worrisome factor because it has affected their physical and mental growth. uh, the physical impact will like we look at the physical activities of the kids have reduced, and that has significantly increased their weight. It has increased their screen time, and with children unable to play games outdoors, and they have obviously restricted to their entertainment, which they have only got through their mobile phones and through their tablets and all, and that has made almost 65% of the children addicted to the screen. The battle of making the children play the actual games rather than the virtual has received a big blow due to this lockdown. And the research indicates that actually that if the screen time is more than 1 hour, it can adversely affect the kids. Coping with their mental abilities or their cognition and higher functions, etc. Everything was gone for a toss. Looking at the mental impact with the anxieties and worries of the parents and family members have been easily absorbed by young kids. I feel that they are as they are very sensitive to their surroundings, resulting in pessimistic thoughts. And a major impact is because of the our mainstream media, which every day shares these tragic news and things, and I feel that needs to be restricted in the children. But as a mother, like sir has already said, that mothers have the most important role, especially when we have young kids. And I would like to call all the young mothers with the in term, which is the millennial mothers. These are the mothers who are born in the between the 1980s to the 1990s. And all these millennial mothers have seen a lot of transitions in their life, that is from their social structure to their economical upliftment to the technological upgrade and everything. I mean, these women have seen the world, and they want to show these opportunities to their children. They want their children to be exposed to all kinds of new kinds of activities and games, and they're looking forward to all of that. But all of a sudden, the work, studies, hobbies, their shopping, entertainment has all come down to a phone and or probably a laptop, and the world has shrunk to just the house, family, and children. It is a wonderful time to stay at home, away from the pollution and traffic, but the recession, the future targets, and work from home create stress. They do create stress for all of us, not just the mothers. It is a mixed feeling of peace, happiness, stress, and depression. But we're hoping that it bounces back to normal and life starts again with the same rush and excitement. As a mother who was in the lockdown, I mean, all the lessons that I feel like I have learned are I would like to share with you. First of all, I think it did teach us the money management in a very big way. In a very, very big way. I mean, that little saving that we probably kept in the bank has come to our rescue. And that is something which I think we should even inculcate in all the future generations, the money management. Cooking skills. I think everyone was cooking around us, and it was a good thing. Needs to be, that cooking can be inculcated even in young children, whatever is age appropriate. Probably a lemonade, but that should be inculcated to them so that they know how to survive themselves in an undesirable situation. Handling of household chores, as we didn't have any helps, we did right, probably none of most of us were not in habits of cleaning the house or mopping the floors, and all of us had to do all of it. And that was that I feel that was extremely important. We learned how to survive without help. And I think the kids saw that They learned how they would come to our help, and they would be like, can I help you, mama, can I rescue I mean, that was a very good learning thing for them. Handling household emergencies, like probably fixing the bulb, or fixing some leakage in the bathroom, or probably changing the gas cylinder. That was something I think many of us would not know if we would have not been in the lockdown. Maintaining the mental health of not just our families but our children. That was something extremely important. We have you know it's always good to explain to them that bad times do go away and good times are not always there, and we should learn to face all the adversities in life. um, the other factor that I feel is organizing all the messy stuff. I think most of us have cleared all the mess. We have thrown unnecessary things. We have organized our cupboards, and really nice lessons that we have learned, because that brings us the need of cleaning up, and 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 it actually plays a very big role on our mental health. When you clean up things, you feel like, oh, I want to start something new, I want to start something fresh. So that was a good thing. The next aspect was a general concept of the taxes. I feel all the moms got to even those non-working moms got to learn about how almost all electricity bills, how all the taxes can be paid from your phone or from your laptop just by staying at home. And you could probably even pay for the groceries and vegetables by just sitting at home. Management of time. I think that was another lesson that we've learned, is probably the management of how we could stipulate a particular time to a particular activity, and that needs to be done within that time frame. We could inculcate that in the kids. We could inculcate that for ourselves, that sometimes just a little time management can help us do many more things. And we could nurture a hobby like probably singing or dancing or something like probably knitting or anything at all. We could sit at home. We felt we got the time to actually pay attention to that. We got our time to learn a little more in detail about that. Nurturing of reading skills. I think all those people who probably love reading would like they say, a book is a man's best friend. So I feel that was something really nice, that we could all invest in reading. It is absolutely amazing to get to reading, and we could inculcate that in our young ones. Like initially we could help them choose the right books according to their interests, but so that they later know what to pick, what not to pick. Rekindling of relationships, with probably making those phone calls and Zoom calls to your families who are extended families, or your uncles, aunts, and friends who are not in your everyday touch. And it also taught us, one of the big lessons is how to handle our disappointments. Like uh, plans were being cancelled, people were not going out, we had no social gatherings. So that was I mean, those disappointments we learned how to deal with. Homeschooling. And by homeschooling, I don't mean all the virtual classes and Zoom classes which the schools are holding. I mean homeschooling as parents. What can we do? What do we do? But it's not like we need to, from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock we will be doing homeschooling. It's not like that. Kids are just observing us. I think uh, doing anything. Probably they learn from the father doing the dishes, or probably the mother just cooking, or probably the mother being on the laptop, and she would show them how to read a book on the laptop or something like that. Though learning is a lifelong process, and children just observe what you are doing. They don't need that specific time, or probably just observe whatever however you are behaving with your family members, with your helps, with your people whoever are in contact with you. So you can plan according to what. So I feel that the lockdown days with the children should be planned according to what the child feels, and not force our thoughts, and not pressurize them with, oh, today we have to finish the alphabets and something like that. I mean, it could just be probably we want to play with clay, or we want to, increasing their concentration skills by solving puzzles with them, or playing with sand or something like that. Teaching driven by fear is not always the right thing. It needs to take a break sometimes, while engaging your child in doing some activity like to 100%. That will only happen when they intend on doing something like that. And also, I feel that the moms should ease the pressure on themselves. Like, it's okay to not be what is in your perfect frame of mind. It's okay. I mean, even we are human beings, and we need to have that breakdown, and that time off, and the me time when the kids are asleep. I feel that's extremely important, because you can't keep continuously carrying them around, or entertaining them, and cooking for them. It's okay for them to have the same meal again. It's really okay. I mean, you don't have to cook 100 times. That's okay. Or probably just enjoying the morning sun with them, or playing with the shadows in the house. Let the child poke the ground, or bring up an old toy, and probably appreciate that he had that toy, because obviously everything was shut. Just to stay with them, give them your 100%. Of course, our lists are important, but I feel they should be sparse. They shouldn't be overloaded and all. And keep the cores to be done and shared by all. I feel both the parents have to be a part of all their activities, and they really love it if both the parents are a part of, some drawing or painting hour that a whole family can have together. uh, Looking at this, we also feel that all the solutions that the physical impact has got on the kids could be like, mothers could improve their physical exercises by probably, I mean, that can again be the child's age related. You could just probably have a dancing session at home, or probably jumping or skipping with the parents and the kids and along, and that could be a fun family time. We could be drawing and painting together. We could um, probably even all the fun activities. I can't think of much more right now. Um, Restrict their screen time and their news time, so that they do not get depressed with all the news that is around us, because they do not have the mental ability to deal with it. They do not have that mental capacity to absorb so much. A sign of anxiety or depression in the child must be given cognizance. We must notice something that is abnormal. I feel that was a very big lesson. And every time that they felt insecure, I feel that it's important for both the parents to be around them. And that's not just about mothers, that's about being parents. Parents must talk to their children and comfort them and allay their anxiety. That's extremely important. And if you feel that the situation is beyond your help, you should take professional help for the same.
Okay.
Diet with reduced physical activities, and diet needs to be modified. Like, you can introduce more green leafy vegetables and fresh fruits, and reduce the sweets and junk foods. We must teach our children that nothing in the world is permanent. Bad times too will pass away, and the experiences may turn them into better human beings. It is a good idea to inculcate optimism in your children. That's all. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you, Dr. Priyanka. And Dr. Priyanka is giving a long list of lessons and what to do, what not to do. If I will start summarizing, I think it will take. But yes, she has given very few important things, and that is the finance management, cooking, the time management, all these things, which I'm sure that everyone has learned these lessons. One should learn. Uh, but one important point which she has raised about the screen time. So when I will come to the next point, I will like to discuss about the screen time. You are being the doctor, and that too ophthalmologist. Now I would like to invite my next guest, and she is Miss Simran Kaur Arora. Miss Arora is a budding entrepreneur and the mother of a 2-year-old angel. After quitting her job, In order to dedicate more time to her child, she realized that without self-growth and self-discovery, she won't be happy, and that her happiness is linked to her child's happiness. So she started her own little venture based on her passion for health and food. Today, she has a YouTube channel wherein she presents advisories in the form of interviews with pediatricians, dietitians, psychologists, etc., for the mental, physical health care of babies. Welcome, Ms. Arora, on our show. And Ms. Simran Kaur Arora, you have heard what Dr. Rajiv Anand and what Dr. Priyanka has spoken. I need not to again repeat those things. Now, we would like to know from you the lockdown lessons of young mother, and you being the young mother, you can give a horse's mouth version of the lockdown lessons. Miss Simran Kaur Arora, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Goel, for having me, speak on this topic. It's a very, very interesting topic and close to my heart. I would like to talk specifically, while Priyanka's already spoken about the functional and the physical aspects, I would like to focus specifically on the mental or the psychological impact of the lockdown and even actually the post-lockdown phase, which is currently what we're going through. So a lot of mothers, very rightly put by Priyanka, have gone through an entire transition phase. Transition in two senses. There are some mothers who are modern, and I would like to consider myself one of the modern mothers, whose entire house was being functioned on a support system with mother-in-law, mother, and nannies. And the other ones were slightly more conventional homemakers who already, had a system where they were involved. Probably they quit their career or never, took a plunge at a higher level, never were too ambitious, but were handling the house as their priority before the lockdown actually happened. For both these parties, two major things happened. One, we all women realized that, home is our priority. And it does not work. So for a lot of women like me who are super ambitious,
I think we lost you, Simran. We can't. We are not. We can't hear you now. I think we lost you, Miss Simran. Okay, Miss Simran, are you there? No, you are not there. So I would like to go, I think some internet problem there. So I would like to go to my next guest, and she is Miss Kanisha Sahani. Miss Kanisha Sahani is the online teacher and party planner. She worked with Ventura for 7 years as senior executive. She also worked abroad as bookshop manager. She is the mother of one boy of 3 years and 8 months. Miss Kanisha Sahani, please. Miss Kanisha Sahni, you have heard what Dr. Rajiv Anand and Dr. Priyanka has said. You the partly because she has just started, so we can't you cannot explain what she has said. But what are your views about the lockdown lessons of young mother? Miss Kanisha Sahni, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Rajiv Anand, to have me come in this place. And I was super nervous, but right now I'm very excited to be a part of this. And I also thank Mr. Lal for having me speak. Some beautiful sentence I just heard from all of you. Once you become a mother, you understand your own mother more strongly. So I am blessed, as Mr. Lal said, women are made to be mother. And I'm blessed to tell you that after 14 years of being married, I have a baby boy. And it may not be as me being a young mother in age, but yes, I have a baby boy. He's going to be 4 years old in March. And it was such a mixed feeling. I'm a type of a person who's got a lot of strength, but during this time, I had a lot of fear coming up with me too. Definitely a young boy. My husband was asked to stay at home without a job. I have been about 6 years just a homemaker. Of course, I was doing party planning, but that was a part-time job. So I was a homemaker, taking care of my son and trying to give him the best. So at this so-called lockdown, at this time, it's actually been very challenging. Okay. But at the same time, our time in lockdown has provided many positive lessons. Okay, the first beautiful thing that I have gone through is lockdown has it's a me time connecting with family and relying on the siblings for companionship. As Dr. Rajiv Anand did mention, this could be a time where maybe a husband and wife could not understand. How wife is at home all day, the husband is at home all day, and there could be quarrels, there could be misunderstanding and stuff. But this is a time that I could understand, open up, and do things which I always wanted to do, with my own kid. Looking at the positive side of my own right now, I take this as if we are on vacation, since we can spend so much time together, as a husband and a wife, or even as me as my son. Okay, so it's nice that we all depend on the approach, if you're doing it with your kid. So like some things I, as a mother, say are non-negotiable. Okay, when I say non-negotiable, yes, we have different ways of bringing up a child. But for me as a mom, I'm very firm when it comes to my son's food schedule, when it comes to discipline. So yes, we have online school. We are not required to go and leave him to school. We are not required to get him dressed up with school uniform, but I still make sure that my son wakes up at 9 o'clock, finishes his bath, like online classes starts at 11, finishes his shower, finishes his breakfast, and there's a schedule which is in place. So a schedule that leads to a discipline, and that leads to a good behavior. And then the rest of it, I'll let my child, figure out the rest and what he wished to do throughout the day. So during this, a quiet time, I have seen many families also in the evening walking, bike riding together. Okay, and as a parent, I have noticed the benefits of a slower pace, okay, in the absence of all those after school activities. Now, when my son was going to play group, I used to leave him at 11, pick him up at 2, give him his lunch. He used to be tired, he used to sleep. And then, of course, my husband was working. There was not that me time with us parents together. Then he comes back and I'm feeding him his dinner. So there was no time that he could actually spend with the father or with me together. So what has coronavirus taught me? That in this stage of life, you should just have a slower pace. In absence of all those activities, we are getting less stress in getting to do things leisurely and in pace for a calmer household. You cannot rush like olden days, school, or uske baad we need to do activity, or uske baad there's a party, or we have to do this, or we have to do that. Oh my God, it's just have to rush and run and rush and run. But this coronavirus, it's been 8 months that me and my husband are at home and everything is just going smoothly. It's because how you have your self-management skills. Okay. In the beginning, self-management skills have been a very great challenge for some children, especially the home-based learning. Okay. And we parents have actually seen, how our children struggle with all the distraction, as many of you mentioned, that husband is working, mother-in-law is asking for tea or whatsoever, and my son is trying to study online. Definitely there has been distraction. But at the same time, let's look at the positive part. How have they coped around to do this on their own? Right now, my 4 years old, I'm today grateful to be a part of this, but I'm also proud that my 4 years old is studying on his own. He's gone online, he's learning, and he's studying. A few things that we cannot say that it's wrong at this moment. Yes, a lot of screen time is there, but do we have a choice at this moment? We cannot step out. We cannot have parties live. There are parties going on online. There are get-togethers online. There are a lot of activities which happen online. There are extra classes which happen online. There's school which is happening online. So we have to just go with the flow of what our children is required to do. We need to explain them. We need them to accept that this is how for a short while it's going to be with us, and we just have to tackle with it. Okay, they are learning different ways to even socialize. Lockdown has also given opportunities for children to learn about diverse way of connecting. Like right now, my parents are in Hong Kong, in China, and my own son, he knows that when he wants to talk to his nani and nanu, that he has to go online, go to the Zoom call and call his nana nani, or go to the WhatsApp call and call his nana nani. So these are the stuff that we have to think that right now this is what children know, and children have to get used to it. Video calls, we are using screen. Activities, we are using screen. Social media, like my son loves Peppa Pig. How will he watch the latest Peppa Pig? Using screen. Celebrating happy occasion, like we had yesterday was Dada JP Vaswani's day. All the satsang online we have to use. So nowadays there's a little message that we just learned, that we just have to be going with the flow. At the same time, what has the most beautiful thing this lockdown has taught me, that we have learned to be a little more slow pace. That has taught us, all of us, patience, learn how to compromise. Me and my husband being married for almost 18 years, the first 14 years of our marriage life was not very stable. But after we got a baby, I've been blessed. And especially with this lockdown, we have learned to be compromising with each other, because he helps me with the cooking. I'm the one who's taken over to bring the money back home. So I'm an online teacher right now. We have learned to be grateful. We have learned to be creativity. What can we do sitting at home? We have so many things. Yes, online, we can do home games. We can play board games. We can play teaching children with different means. There's a teaching while you take your pencil and your paper and have them do things which they wish to. Okay. One more thing I have so beautifully learned is we do not take things anymore for granted like we used to do before. We used to be taking a few things for granted, even to our own kid. Okay, school ja raha hai, wahan se seekhega, वापस आएगा, ठीक है, teacher ने सिखाया, we are paying school fees. But right now, we as a parent has got so involved with our own children upbringing and children learning that we don't take things for granted anymore. Adaptable, how well we have adapted ourselves, to just be a full-time mother and a part-time job. Maybe I have no choice, but it's made me understand how to adjust things. I have learned something that is so important, that is to slow down life. At the end of the day, what did this lockdown has taught us? What do we actually need? All we need is bread and butter to feed our stomach, happiness from our children's face. So we have learned how to slow down. Hope. We don't give up hope. We are hoping by next year, as we've been hearing, by February, the injection should be out and things should go normal. Maybe for India, it might take a few more months for our kids to go back to school. But yes, there is hope. We have reduced stress. We are staying at home. We are forced to slow down. We're forced to stay at home. And it actually reduces us by, the stress that we used to be going through. Togetherness, right now it's a stage that whatever you have been not enjoying with your partner or with your in-laws or with your loved one is right now you can be doing that. Understanding, relation, compassion. So these are the few things that we need to look at the positive side nowadays. Okay. As I said, stuff that we cannot be saying that it's not healthy right now. So we've been doing video calls, we've been doing online activities, social media and stuff, which we cannot. But as one thing I would say, okay, use this time to explore as they please. Structure the schedule in such a way that when you are busy with work, your child has an independent activity. Don't take it lightly. Like, school to nahi hai, why should we wake him up? Why should we wake up the child? Why should we do? It's okay if it's 5 minutes late. Nobody bothers. The teacher don't tell us anything. But that is a wrong thinking. I yet, as a mother, make sure that my son wakes up in the morning as if he is going to school, has a shower as if he has to wear a school uniform and sit in his online classes. What gives me that feeling that there is a structure in his life, that he doesn't have to take it lightly. School, whether it's online, whether you're going to school, you have to make sure that he knows where does he belong. Okay. And every time we hear about the end of a lockdown, I honestly have mixed feeling. Do I really want to go back as living as before, where we used to be running around and where we used to be just not knowing what we are up to? But we're just taking it sweetly as it comes. If it's another one more year for our small kids to be sitting at home and doing their online classes, I will definitely take it with a smile. um, there will be challenges as we move back to on-site schooling. Okay, there will definitely be challenges because we have taken it sitting at home, taking it lightly, doing homework with our kids, and forgetting to learn what they have learned, getting to meet the teachers online, getting to see their homework, singing the song with them while they're enjoying. However, the chance to appreciate what is important, adapt the changes, and experience new way of connecting are life enhancing. You just have to go with the flow. Do not think anything negative. Okay. As I keep telling this to people, that right now I feel I'm in a very long vacation, because we can spend time together. I know maybe not today, maybe another few months down the line, my husband will go back to work. And then it's going to be the same old lifestyle. Coming back late, no discipline in his schedule. Sometimes my discipline of my son will go upside down. So that's where I take it as a positive thing. One more thing, as we all parents know, which some of us may be not remembering to do it, is you can acknowledge your children with a gratitude. Okay, gratitude is so important. When at 4 years old or 3.5 years old child, poor him, the first few months of my lockdown from March to June, we were completely home ridden. For me, I lost two of my uncle. One of my uncle did go away with corona, and a lot of new good friends who went away with corona. I was scared. As a mother, I was scared. But at the same time, every day, gratitude. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you for the opportunities to learn. Thank you for the opportunities for the good health. And gratitude is actually increasing, recognized as a powerful factor in our well-being. So that's even what I teach my 4 years old. Beta, you come out, you go down for your walk, you come, wash your hands. Yes, important. Gratitude. Thank you that I met a friend. Thank you for my friend to come home. Thank you. Okay, one more thing as a mother, in this time of lockdown.
Please be brief.
Right.
Please be brief.
Sure. So one more thing as a mother, this lockdown has given many children an opportunity to manage their own boredom. My own son, he knows what to do when his mother is busy. He knows what to do. Okay. He's also given time, responsibility for occupying their own time. And all the children I have seen has built their independence, right? They have learned to be independent. When papa and mama has to do something, they experience their own satisfaction. So as a mother today, I just want to end up by saying that look at the positive side. It has been challenging, but in this lockdown has provided us many positive lessons.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you
Kanisha.
very
And
much.
Tanisha says that this lockdown has taught us very positive lessons. And especially one point which she has made, which I would like to highlight is slow the pace. The pace which you are running or doing pre-COVID era, you have to just slow down and enjoy the lockdown. Although now it's unlocking down has started, but still one has to be very, very careful. Thank you very much, Ms. Kanisha. I would not like to summarize the entire thing because of the paucity of time. Again, I have to go to Ms. Simran Kaur Arora because I think her net is now on. Yes, Ms. Simran, you can start.
Finally, we're back again. Just a small thing there. So this also helps us realize how dependent we are on technology, because when you're working from home or, doing any sort of calls, you're really, really dependent on anything which is but virtual. So I was discussing about the mental effects, on a child. Mother Nature, just the way Mother Nature has actually balanced earth, water, air. A mother in a child's life has to balance their health, not just by the physical aspect of it, but also by the mental aspect of it. And mental aspect does not include the child's own health. It includes the mother's health first, because that is what will impact the child. It includes the father's health, and it also includes the environment in which the child is being brought up. Now, this biggest challenge this lockdown threw at us was not really about, physical health, so to say, because there was a protocol of staying at home, which was laid across, the nation. And we learned that, okay, this is the first thing we need to do to prevent ourselves from getting sick physically. But what it didn't prepare us for was what to do to take care of our mental well-being, And a lot of the parents who are doing dual responsibilities, like I pointed out earlier, mothers who were probably working from home or who were handling home, had to realize and accept that, biologically or in some way, we are the ones who are the caregivers of the family. We have to take a lead, on the home front in terms of providing for the basics and making sure that the environment is conducive for their overall growth. So as part of that, the three major things that we learned, and I'll keep it really brief. The first one is we have learned to bring or to facilitate families to get closer. What I mean by that, so initially when the lockdown started, maybe you were not able to, cope with being at home at all time, not having your me time, attending to other people's requirements, often having tiffs with your mother-in-law or your father-in-law, because they may not hold the same view in terms of the protocols that you want to have in the house for your child. You may be a little more protective. They may be wanting to, step out for smaller things. But whatever said and done, there was a point where, all of you had to confide and express your views and then come to a common ground, because there was also a period of lockdown extension, which you knew is not going to end ever. You didn't see the other side of the coin. So you learned to come together as a family and find common grounds. You learned to adjust and you learned to take up smaller roles. So that is the first thing that the child sees of how to live with the family together. Even though the one negative aspect of the coin is that the child gets so dependent on the family that later on when the unlockdown happens and you start meeting people, you will see that the child is experiencing stranger anxiety. But that tends to wade off over time if you just continue ignoring it, and you yourself being normal in front of him will teach him what normalcy is. But family adjustment is such a great virtue, and we have started taking things for granted because we were living in nuclear families and or just being so busy and running around that there was no need for adjustment. There were tactics taken care of. Now you had no option, so you came together as a family to do things. For those who were living in nuclear families, they realized the value of having a joint family, and most of them actually went back to their hometowns to take or to seek help of their parents or the family overall. So that is a beautiful virtue that we all learn. The second thing which is important is the relationship between a husband and wife. Now, in today's time, again, the wife is busy, the husband is at home, or the husband is busy, the wife is at home. There's barely any time that they were together. And more often than not, when they are together, they realize that, okay, now maybe things have changed. We have to take dual responsibilities. And there were a lot of, again, tiffs over there. So when parents fight, the impact that it has on the child is, of course, adverse. But when the child sees the parents reconcile and also apologize to the child for their behavior, which may be more reactive in nature, not responsive in nature, the child learns how to deal with their own frustrations, which is one of the biggest thing that we are grooming them in this whole lockdown era. Managing your own anxieties and your own frustrations, communicating in the right way, probably letting them lose, going wrong, but then coming back and realizing that it was wrong and correcting your behavior is something which is very, very important. And for all parents, how to manage conflicts is something they should definitely understand. How to have me time given to each other, how to have something which we call as, break times, so that, you don't fight or say things in front of your child. So those are smaller things that, you do to take care and teach how the child to live with the partner. one of the most toughest things that is getting in today's time to be tolerant towards your partner, which is why you have so many, people falling out of marriages, or people just being, not very comfortable with commitments. So they're being commitment phobic. That's what you see as a trend in the younger generation. You are grooming this new generation, which has just been formed and created by you, on how to live with a partner, how to be dependent, how to be thankful, grateful, and understand that there are positives that you'll both have and how to complement each other to live together. So that's the second virtue that, we ended up unknowingly teaching our child. And the third most important thing that we all learned, whether we were taking care of it earlier or not, is our own health. Because if you're not happy, if the child needs 24 hours of a mother's attention to do activities, even while she is working alongside, to get him to play or whatever, you need to be in a good frame of mind. So the number of people in my known who've actually taken up yoga or any other form of recreation is huge, because you realize that you need to do something for your own health. And only then can you make your child happy. So on the mental side of it, the environment that you've created for your child needs to be good. And that's why there are these three aspects: family, partner, and self, which needs to be taken care of first. When you sit in an aeroplane, they also say कि अपना खुद का mask लगाइए, wear your own mask first and then assist the child. That's because if you're not going to be fine, the child will never be fine. And, given all of this, the last point is about the child's recreational activity. So it's about the self, right? We've learned to live with lack of choices, which was a problem that our generation had. We were spoiled for choices. If the child is getting bored, put him in a class. If the child is getting bored, buy him a toy, give him screen time. But I think eventually the guilt has built on us so much that you realize that either you're giving up on your finances by buying toys, expensive ones, or you're probably just giving him more screen time, that you've realized and you've become more creative in different ways. So it is not just about, getting the child to paint and color. How much would you do that? But, when you're doing a simple home activity like removing peas from the pod in the kitchen, or baking something, you learn to involve your child in the same chore. Or when you're doing dusting, because you don't have maids, you've shown the child of, okay, I can get your help if you just take this piece of cloth and help me with a surface which is at your level. So in some way, self-sufficiency helps you realize that there is anyway so much to do in the house that you don't need to get bored, or you don't need to depend on these materialistic things of toys and screen time. You have been forced to kind of come up with creative solutions. So I mean, most of it has already been pointed out by Priyanka and the other guest speaker. But I think the mental health aspect is something that we should definitely look into.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Simran Arora. You have given the mental health more emphasis, and that is very important. And when we are talking about the mental health, I think the best person to answer is Dr. Rajiv Anand. Dr. Rajiv Anand, my question to you is, because the time is short, so I have to be with this thing, short answers I expect. Because of this lockdown, would there be an impact on mothers as well as on the child? Because of this lockdown, they are not getting the time. Mothers are not getting the me time, and the child is not getting the environment where he or she used to go out and play in the ground or meet the friends or go to the school, nursery, wherever. So, do you think it will be impact? There will be impact, or that impact will be a temporary impact, or it will be a lifelong, long-lasting impact? Dr. Rajivanan, please.
So, Lal, thank you for putting out this question. And before I answer this, I would be brief. I can reassure you. In fact, the program today has come out to be much better than we had anticipated, when we have expected, because the first-hand experience of the new mothers, what each one of them has spoken about, is great. And that has brought reassurance to me. Now, this is an answer to your question, that most mothers have been given this opportunity to become a better mother, to become a more involved mother themselves, than dependent on the gadgets or the toys or on the digital world. This is a great opportunity that mother would become a better mother, father would become a better father, the couple themselves would become a better role model, better parents for the child to emulate them. That's where I am by and large an optimistic person. I observe things happening around. Why something is happening? What are the hidden masses? So, precise answer to your question is that this lockdown would make everyone a better one including the child. Otherwise, he would have been dependent with the toys and with the gadgets. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Anand. That's a very positive note you have given. I'm sure that mothers are going to be very, relieved, because everybody is feeling nowadays that what impact this lockdown will give to the child. But what you have said is really very assuring, and I'm sure the mothers will take care and they will go as you have suggested. They will be doing more positive thing. Thank you very much. Now, my question is to Dr. Priyanka. Are you there, Dr. Priyanka? Because you are
Yes,
not
sir.
there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, you are there now. So, Dr. Priyanka, you mentioned about the digital or the online and the use of screen. You yourself is an ophthalmologist. Now, today the situation is even a 2-year-old child has no other option to sit on the screen. Forget about the elders or the adults. Now, what is going to happen? Because as I was mentioning to you, I know that how much trauma I faced in my childhood, because my eyes were weak and I got specs when I was only 4 or 5 years old. At that time, it was very rare to see a child of 4 or 5 years old wearing specs. But today, although it's very common, I have seen the first standard children are wearing. But because of this excess use of screen, what will be the impact on the child, especially the young children, on their eyes? Dr. Priyanka, please.
So, sir, of course, all of us know that screen as such has extremely adverse effects and ill effects on children, especially because their organs and their brain and their motor functions and fine motor skills are not developed. So, as it is, the phone or is full of radiations. We're throwing radiations at them. It should totally be restricted. It should. I'm in strong support of all the parents who restrict their phone and people who believe that they should not be giving the screen to their kids, especially kids who are below 3 years of age. It is causing all these adverse effects on their higher functions, on their motor skills, on their cognition skills. So I mean, we don't realize this. We probably feel that it is giving us that 5 minutes of peace, or probably just to feed them. I mean, in my own, there are times when, even I have done it, probably because my son wasn't eating a good meal and I was bored. Probably, he'd look at the screen and eat those 5 bites more. But that's not the right thing to do. That is not, we all know that that's not the right thing to do, because later, and that needs a little restriction, that needs to be in a limit. If you're exposing them while eating meals, we need to know that, the signals, the hunger signals are actually not reaching their brain. They are just opening their mouth and mechanically eating the food. That's not the way to deal with it. But sometimes when they do throw those tantrums, we need to just leave it. Feel like we cannot solve every single situation. So
Okay.
it's good to not encourage that, though all of
Okay.
us
Yes.
do that in situations. But I feel
Yes.
it has a lot of
But
adverse.
Dr.
Thank
Priyanka,
you. Mhm.
many nurseries or the schools, pre-nursery schools, they are teaching online. I don't know what is going to happen to those children of 2 or 3 years when they have to spend time. Thank you very much, Dr. Priyanka. Now, my question to you, Ms. Simran Arora, is, as you mentioned that there is we have to, if we have to fight, we should not fight in front of the children. You have mentioned in your thing. Now, have you ever let your lockdown anger out on your child?
Yes,
Ms. Simran Arora, please.
yes. So honestly, I mean, I would lie if I haven't. Even though the child is really young, there was a situation which was extremely difficult for us. My husband was given an ultimatum to he was about to lose his job basically, and we were just generally figuring out what are the options, because overall, income earning is currently an issue in the house. With my father-in-law's shop being shut down, I having lost my job, me trying to figure out an entire new venture with the kind of difficulties I'm facing on the time front. So there was a time when, when this news came to us that my husband would be losing his job, there was a day when we were really stressed, and the child doesn't know what is happening, right? They're busy playing. So I remember during a meal time when the child was creating fuss and she happened to drop the food on the floor. I did lose my cool and I ended up, giving her a slight whack on her bum, which immediately I realized that it was a reaction, not a response to what she had done. And maybe she was not even aware that she did it by mistake. So she obviously broke down into tears. I put her to, stop crying first. And later on, when she was in a little better state, I apologized to her. Even though she's just learned to communicate, they understand emotions very well. So I did, apologize to her. And at the back of my mind, I told myself that I have to learn to respond and not react. Because the lockdown is going to throw such challenges at us that we are going to end up reacting.
Okay.
So anger is common, but how
Okay.
to deal with anger is something that we all have to learn.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Arora. Ms. Kanisha, your family, as you mentioned, your parents are in Hong Kong, China, and you are here. Now the child is talking to you, talking to them. Do you think sometimes the child feels that he wants to go to the meet your grandparents and you are not allowing, because if he's not understanding what is lockdown at this time, so that type of problems have you ever faced, and how you have tackled that?
Yes, I have faced such problems because he's in an age that he understands transportation. So he knows to reach Hong Kong, we need an airplane to go by. And he's wondering that why you haven't taken me to my grandparents' house, airplane, we can sit on it. But again, at the same time, that's where I mix a few things together. So that's where I've been telling him stories about Corona, stories about things at this stage of our life. We need to be careful. And we tell him a few facts, which he does respond and understands. For example, okay, so you see, we cannot go too much out. Going to the airplane to a different country is very far away. Right, number one. Number two, grandparents are old, you're too young, so we don't want anyone to have problems. So a lot of facts that I tell him, I show him again a few videos, like there's a beautiful song which came out about coronavirus in a child format, to wash your hands, to not to travel, to not to go, to not to do this. So he does understand that these are few just active moments that he has to be careful. But at the same time, I did promise him, it's if you're going to listen to mama and do the basic etiquettes of washing and not meeting and not kissing anybody and making sure you come back and keep washing your feet and your hands. But next year, everything will go back to its good stage of life, and I will definitely take you to your grandparents.
Okay, thank you very
sir.
much. So today you have seen how the young mothers gave their lessons, what they have learned from the lockdown. And as Dr. Rajiv Anand has mentioned, that today's program is very enlightening because they have given the first-hand information, and which a very, very positive note, which I am sure our viewers are going to be enlightened very much, because how to tackle, because the problem is there, the pandemic, difficult situation is for everyone, not for us, not for India, or everywhere in the world. So we have to face it, and we have to face in such a way that the impact should not be there on our small toddlers, the children, which are the real loving creature of the God, as Dr. Anand has mentioned. So thank you very much for joining us. And today's live program is live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, News Now Se, Samvad Sarokar News, as well as it was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor is to bring to you every day new thing. And tomorrow is a very, very special day. And the day is the 11th Indian Organ Donation Day. Yes, we must understand that India is suffering very badly. More than 5 lakhs people are dying every year. Every day, more than 1,500. Yes, you have heard correctly. More than 3 times people are losing life, which we are losing of COVID. More than 3 to 4 times are losing every day for want of organ. And that's why tomorrow is a very, very important day. And I have 3 programs tomorrow, being the chairman of Organ Donation India Foundation. The first program is Media Conference with Lal Goel, which is going to be at 10 o'clock. It's going to be a 2-hour program. And with 25 different institutions, students and the teachers who are participating. And my chief guest tomorrow will be His Excellency Shri P.S. Sridhan Pillai, Governor of Mizoram, Raj Bhavan as well. He's joining from there. as well as other dignitaries of Gyan Mentors, as well as the teachers and the students of the different institutions. Then my second program will be this, again going to be live telecast, is going to be organized by Leo District 317D, Leo Club Mangalore Kaveri, a virtual program, Role of Youth in Organ Donation Awareness. It will be from 7 p.m. tomorrow, where I will be giving the keynote address. And the third program is going to be a organ donation day organized by Organ Donation India Foundation. And the chief guest is Dr. Kamal Jain, Director, Recycle Life Organ Donation Awareness Project of Giants Welfare Foundation, Mumbai, with 625 clubs under him. And as well as I will be the keynote speaker, and we will have again many other speakers, importantly like Rotarian Deepak Goel, Giant Deepa Bhargava, Mr. D.P. Sharma, Rotarian Engineer Krishna Dayal Agrawal, PDC Latta Goel, Mr. Pratul Agrawal, and Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma. They will be joining, as well as all different clubs, organizations, Rotary and many other clubs, Giants, etc. They all will be joining live tomorrow from 8:30 p.m. onwards. So tomorrow we are going to have an organ donation day program, and I appeal to you all, and as well as to our Honorable Prime Minister, when he is talking on different topics, this time I appeal to him, at least in his Mann Ki Baat, which is going to be on Sunday, he must mention about the organ awareness, organ donation awareness, the importance of organ donation, because this is in our hand. God has given us a power to save the lives of 8 people and improvise 75 lives by just pledging our organs. So I hope even my viewers, as well as the government and our Honorable Prime Minister, will take note of it and do something so that we can save the lives, which is easily saved. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Rajiv Anand. Thank you, Dr. Priyanka. Thank you, Ms. Simran Arora. And thank you, Ms. Kanisha, for joining us. And thank you all the viewers for listening to today's such an enlightening program. Thank you very much.